The Atlanta Falcons head coaching search is just a bunch of rumors and reports and sifting through what you believe to be true, what you believe to be planted. Who are they actually impressed with? Who would actually be interested in coming here? Is Bill Belichick the clear front runner? It's a mess. It's turned into a mess. If the Falcons were trying to lay a smoke screen, they have done a damn good job of it, because you have so many reports now coming from so many different people, and so many of them are conflicting, that I want to ask where your final thoughts on all of this are. What are you feeling? Who do you think's the front runner? What about the McKay thing? Just kind of an overall feeling of what you think's really going on behind all of this smoke.
Before I give you an answer, I think that what you just said is just, kind of enlightening, that no other candidacy or vacancy has been surrounded with this kind of rumor report. It's Belichick. We're impressed with all of these candidates. The search is wide open. It isn't Bill Belichick or bust. Rich McKay versus Bill Belichick. The Falcons are embroiled in drama right now. Let's not get it confused. Whereas, like, you go look at the Chargers, and the Chargers feel like, what, they actually do feel like it's Jim Harbaugh or bust for the Chargers. And then, you got the Titans already made their decision, and Brian Callahan. That was a potential Falcons head coach that we were going to interview for the second time, and Tennessee didn't let him out of the building. So, it feels like everybody is kind of on the straight and narrow except the Falcons. I don't know what to believe, really. I have, my internal beliefs, and they're very, I'm a very opinionated guy, so I'll just tell you. I think that the Atlanta beat writers are being sold a false story, and basically they do have sources within the building, but those stories are being planted for a reason, to kind of throw us off the Bill Belichick trail. I'm not going to, unless I see new information from national reporters, the Schefters, the Rappaports, the Pelisseros of the world. I'm not going to believe that anything other than Bill Belichick is coming for Atlanta. I truly do believe Arthur Blank is prioritizing the win now. Rich, you've been a really good friend, a loyal teammate kind of to me, but Bill Belichick is available. I lost out on Joe Gibbs. I lost out on Bill Parcells. I'm not going to lose out on a third Hall of Fame head coach. Can you take a step back in football operations so we can have Bill Belichick here? Will you do that for me? That's what I think is going to happen. I'm barring some unforeseen circumstance where Bill Belichick has interest elsewhere, which, to our understanding is not the case. It feels like the Falcons are the only team interested in Bill Belichick. Blank is enamored with the Patriot way. I'm not thrown off this trail of Bill Belichick by a couple of Atlanta beat writers having sources within Flowery Branch. I'm not thrown off by any means.
Yeah, I think I'm sticking on the straight and narrow, and I'm going to even go a step further. And this isn't reporting or anything like that. It's simply just my opinion. I think Arthur Blank, all of the reports of him wanting Bill Belichick are 100% true. I think that has been reported by just about everyone. You just go look at the Thomas Dimitroff hire, the Scott Pioli hire, the wanting Bill Parcells, the wanting, like, this all, like, he wants Bill Belichick. He wants to win now. He is 100% sold. Or I don't want to say 100%, because I do want to leave the door open, because here's what I also believe. I also believe Bill Belichick is very interested in the Atlanta Falcons. There's a reason why this is the only job interview that he's taken, and I think partly it's because interest isn't as hot as many might have expected. But I do think there's another part where he's not taking interviews where he's not even interested. I think he likes the idea of Atlanta, a smaller market. He likes the idea of an owner in Arthur Blank who is going to be willing to give him autonomy, going to be willing to give him a leash, going to be willing to give him control. I think that marriage right there is that those two want each other. Now there's this little sliver of this door that is open, right? Where you have Rich McKay and Terry Fontenot kind of thinking, and it could be what's best for the organization. Listen, we're not all sold on Bill Belichick, but they obviously, I completely believe that the reports about them not wanting Bill Belichick, because then their jobs hang in the balance. Obviously, Rich McKay, we assume, is gone at Belichick. Terry Fontenot's role certainly diminished. If it's not head's role as well, they are going to sit there, all three of them, go through every single one of their candidates, and they are going to try to convince Arthur Blank that one of these guys is a better option. And it's going to be up to Arthur Blank, obviously, at the end of the day. I don't think he's going to be swayed. He might, but as I said at the beginning, he has to be swayed by a candidate that also wants to come into Atlanta with this mess, with Rich McKay involved and stuff like that. I don't think the sexiest candidates, your Jim Harbaughs, stuff, Ben Johnsons, are going to want to step into that mess. You're going to be looking at your next round of guys, which we still like. Bobby Slowick, maybe. He could get somewhere else too. Mike McDonald, perhaps. But I think you're going to have to go there. They're going to have to convince him that a first-year head coach is a better option than Bill Belichick. And I think that is a really hard deal to sell based on what we know with Arthur Blank's infatuation with Belichick and wanting to win right now.
Yeah, I'll play both sides of the fence here because I don't like either option. I don't like Rich McKay sticking around, and I sure as hell don't want Bill Belichick coaching the Atlanta Falcons because it feels like a desperation move to win a Super Bowl right now, yet this roster with this current crop of guys isn't ready to compete for a Super Bowl right now. We don't even have a quarterback. We're going to go the veteran route. I don't love that. Maybe Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is by far and away the best option for a Bill Belichick coach Falcons team, and there's no guarantees he's going to lead the Vikings. If you don't land Kirk Cousins, you are in a world of hurt with what's left over. I mean, there's a significant drop-off in quarterback play among the veterans from Kirk Cousins. So you better hope that Bill Belichick draw still has some cachet, and I certainly do believe he does. But the fact of the matter is I can find a silver lining in either one. Bill Belichick comes to Atlanta, Rich McKay is probably out. If Bill Belichick doesn't come, I still like that because he's not my first choice. He's going to be 72 years old. What is this, a 2 or 3 year plan so he can pass? I'm blanking on the record. Sorry. The all-time Don Shula's all-time winningest record. This is a joke. This is an absolute joke. We're going to plan for 2 years and do this whole song and dance again in 2 or 3 years. No, that's crap. That's desperation.
Yeah, I think the best of both worlds is we maybe a guy like Jim Harbaugh says the same thing that Bill Belichick. It is like, I don't want Rich McKay, but I do like the Falcons, and maybe that's another thing that I don't think that's going to happen. But I think when you're talking about the only way the Falcons get the best of both worlds is with Jim Harbaugh saying something like that, because
that would be even the best of 3 worlds, because that would mean Terry Fontenot's role would, maybe even expand potentially. And I think he's done great at his job. He deserves more responsibility, in my opinion.
Yeah. So if you're a Falcons fan and you just listen to this whole thing, pray for Jim Harbaugh. Like, pray that something comes up in a dream. God told him to come to Atlanta or something like that, because I think that's our best case of getting Rich McKay out, not getting Belichick, and getting one of the hottest head coaching hires, maybe the hottest head coaching name on the entire market. So pray for that. Don't think it's going to happen, but I think that's our best shot. That wraps up our show for this evening. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We will be back with you on Wednesday.